during the month of Black History Month, I always spend time looking at different documentaries and different things in Black history. And if you're not careful, it'll get you angry. Well, all of a sudden, you be angry at all white folks, when all white folks wasn't bad. And many white people were abolitionists that were just as upset at slavery as we were. Many white folks actually, matter of fact, when Pastor Warnock gave his speech his victory speech of winning the Senate, he mentioned 3 names of people that died on behalf of voting rights. One was a Jew, one was an Italian, and the other one was white also. It was 3 white folks. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes you'll watch so many things in Black history where it's just, sometimes it'll get you angry. You know? It's important, but it's always important to keep it in perspective too. But I mean, you know, sometimes you'll watch things and you'll see and you'll be like, man, well, God, there's still incarcerations, and unfortunately, Black folks still make up 50 to 60% of most prisons, but only 10% of the country. And when you look at things like poverty, you say, well, man, yes, this country was built off of the backs of slaves. The economy was huge in the 1800s when America was being birthed. The cotton industry and servitude. If it wasn't big, then they wouldn't have had slaves. But you look at the generational wealth and you look at our country and you see things like we still only represent less than 1% of economic wealth. Most people that are Black and brown are in poverty. We've come a long ways. There's still some things we should look at and say, that ain't right. But if you're not careful, all of a sudden anger will get in you. It's where you'll be at a place of just angry at the system, angry at America, angry at white folks, angry at everybody, and most of all, angry at God. And sometimes I've said, well, maybe one day I'll get into God's presence. And when I get into God's presence, maybe one day I'll ask him the question, why was it so hard for Black folks in America? What was going on? But you know what? I quickly get brought to my senses. Because see, when you get on the other side, you're not going to be in a classroom just asking God all of these questions. Well, what about this, God? What about that? When you get in God's presence, it's complete victory. What does that mean? Complete victory over every issue you face, every problem you face. It doesn't matter what the journey was like. When you stand in God's presence, you're going to stand in God's presence, and you know what you're going to say? It was worth it, God. It was worth it. Every pain, every issue was worth it because it was nothing like you went through for me. You're not going to have time thinking about, well, God, how come my daddy did this? No, it ain't going to even matter. You know why? Because on the other side is complete victory. Complete victory. So for the first 1,000 years, I'm probably going to be like, glory to God in the highest. Glory to God in the highest. Thank you, oh God, for sending your son, Jesus. Victory belongs to you. Then the next 1,000 years, I'm going to be like, glory to God in the highest. Glory to God in the highest. Thank you for peace. Thank you for joy. God, all the junk doesn't matter. Why? Because it's paid for. It's done with. God, I got new life in you. And no matter how hard the journey was, it was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it. victory, y'all. Victory, y'all. This is why people should not be afraid of looking back at Black history. Why? Because, man, that doesn't define me. That doesn't define where God has taken me. My victory is in Jesus. I'm more than a conqueror because of Jesus Christ. So here's my question. It's pretty simple. Have you put your trust in Jesus? Have you put your trust in Jesus?